Good morning. Um, I am making this video really not for wide dissemination or anything like that. I'm making it more because I have some friends, I'll say it, some white friends, who have asked me how I'm feeling, what do I think of the current situation. And I'm not a spokesperson for the black community. I'm not a spokesperson for black women, black pastors, anything like that. This is just me wanting to articulate how I am feeling. I know many people have already expressed their feelings, and I think the consensus is made unanimous, right? Things have got to change in our country. Things have got to change permanently in our country. As much as my heart grieves for George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and their families, for me, and I can only speak for myself, I am my soul hurts for Christian Cooper. And if you don't know who Christian Cooper is, because it hasn't been as publicized as some of the other current events, he was a bird watcher in Central Park. And a white woman, he asked her to put her dog on a leash. She got upset. And by the time he started videoing the confrontation, she was threatening to call the police on him and tell the police that he was threatening her life. She specifically said she was going to call the police and say an African American male was threatening her life and the life of her dog. She then carried out this threat and called the police, called 911, and told them that an African American male was threatening her life and the life of her dog. And the video clearly shows he was not. That situation bothers me more, if that's even possible, than a few corrupt, I don't want to say a few because I don't know the number, but a corrupt justice system. That bothers me more because that is every day and it has not changed. White woman victimization goes back to 1955 when Emmett Till was lynched because he was accused of offending a white woman in a store. And here it is in 2020. We have a man walking through Central Park bird watching, and a white woman calls the police on him and accuses him of threatening her life. Thanks be to God that this event did not occur in a death or an arrest, but it could have. This event, more than any, speaks to the corrosion and the malice in hearts of some white Americans. This event is an everyday occurrence. This is what black men have to deal with on their jobs. Did they look at the white woman wrong? Did they brush up against the white woman in the break room? Did they use too aggressive of a tone to which she felt like she was now threatened? My heart hurts for the Christian Coopers of this world who are still living, but living in fear, walking on eggshells. George Floyd isn't the first one. We've all seen the news reports, right? There was a doctor in Miami who his wife videoed him being handcuffed while he was in his front yard cleaning out his medical van. And the police saw fit to handcuff him. And it wasn't until he proved who he was that he was released. I'm sorry, white America, we can't walk around with our degrees plastered to our chest. We can't walk around with our accomplishments and our achievements tattooed on our foreheads. We have to walk around in the skin that God gave us, in the dignity that we are afforded. So how do I feel, my friends? I'm hurt. More than I am angry. My anger can't get past my hurt. So I can't even say that I'm angry because I'm too hurt. We've grown up in a time, my children have grown up in a time where I try to tell them things are better. But are they? Is surface level acceptance better? When you scratch just below the surface and you get to the malice of heart, is that better? So now my children are growing up in a time where they're learning through TikTok, Mom, the police treat us different. Yes, the police treat you different. Mom, white people treat us different. Yes, white people treat you different. I'm sorry. As I said, I just wanted to make this for my friends or acquaintances that I know who have asked me how I'm doing. I'm not doing well. Always, I'm a child of God, and I believe in the power of God, but I'm not ignorant to the fact that every person out there does not believe the way I believe. So I will raise my children to be respectful of law enforcement, but to be wary of people. To always remember, whether you agree with me or not, I always have to remind myself, my children, my family, that you are black living in America. That's the reality, guys. And until that changes, which I don't know if it ever will, James Baldwin said, to grow up, to live in America and be semi-conscious of the events and the social injustice taking place in our country is to live in a partial state of rage. I may not agree with the rioters and the looters, but I understand that partial sense of rage. I understand always having that little bit inside of you that's just a little bit tired. So to take from old folks a black colloquialism, I'm sick and tired. And I know many in our communities are. But let me leave you with this, because this is just me, right? I decided to video in front of this construction mess behind me, because right now it represents America to me. It's a mess, but it can be cleaned up. Might take a couple of people. It's going to take more than one person. It's going to take some heavy equipment, but it can be cleaned up. And so whether I'm naive or not, I don't know, but I do hold out hope that the mess of America can be cleaned up. The mess of our justice system can be cleaned up. The mess of corrupt cops can be cleaned up. The mess of racism can be cleaned up. But it's gonna take some work. And since again, it's just me, if anybody from white churches are listening, it's gonna take you. It's going to take you speaking up, and not just speaking up, but actively pursuing change in this country. It's not a political thing. It's not a black versus cop thing. It's a humanity thing. I want the same thing as any mother, white, black, Chinese, Hispanic, Indonesian, Cambodian, it doesn't matter. We want our children to grow up free and be able to be as successful as they can. That's all I want. I want them to be productive citizens of society. But unfortunately, I have to teach them how to conduct themselves in society, which is a little different than my white brothers and sisters. So if you've texted me and asked me how am I doing, not so good. I'm doing the best I can. Those of you who I've always loved, I continue to love you. But if you're willing to hear the truth, we can have a truthful conversation. It might not be pretty, but it will be the truth. So I am looking for a peaceful protest to participate in. Like George Floyd and so many before him, Breonna, Aubrey, Trayvon Martin. I just want to breathe. I just want to breathe again.